I like to do an underpainting, put an underpainting of thinned washes on my canvas before I begin to paint because it allows for the colors to come through. I often use a red oxide, which is a complement of all the greens. But it also gives a really nice finish to the canvas so that your next layers of paint go on easily and smoothly. So our next stage is to put in the underpainting. So underpainting, similar colors. I started doing it here and I went, well, I'm supposed to just be drawing. So we're gonna go and we're gonna put the red oxide under all the trees really thin. And all the shapes that are under the trees. It's just a matter of filling that in. Use your, thin down your paint. I'm going to leave off the ones that are in the way distance and do them in blue. The farthest away trees, the blue will cover this if you haven't done that already. If you goof and make, so whoops, I don't want to do that. When we mix up a blue green and a blue for that distance, that will cover it. So all the trees, we're just going to fill in all these shapes. With oil, it's nice to have a layer on your canvas or your paper of this oil that it helps the paint, the next layer of paint, spread nicely, which is another reason to do an underpainting. I'll do it sometimes out on location as well, because then you've got this really nice surface to work on. I'm gonna, for the final stage, I'm gonna switch to oil primed linen. That's also a very nice surface to work on. We're gonna make sure we have a little bit of shadow on the side. These are also notes that help you remember what's going on here. And this is what I was telling you before. I wanna put on the shadow side of this hill, and it's gonna come right down to the tops of those trees. The light coming from this way, casting its shadow down the slope. In the sky. All right, let's go back to the clouds. I'm gonna have to wash my brush kind of good. I think I used my red brush for the blue and blue for the red or whatever. I want to go back, and now I want to put underpainting on the blue of the clouds underneath. It's pretty dark, but we can lighten that up with our light colors. We'll lighten that up. When you look at clouds, you kind of see this very pale gray around the edges of them, even when they're up at the sky level. I'm on another cloud here. Light, soft. Okay, we have clouds coming from the distance, kind of marching in. They're going to be lighter up above. And again, I don't want those too even through here. We're not, whoops. I'm going to break that up a little bit. Just hinting at shapes. No, one cloud will cast a shadow on another one that's on the other side of it. Soften that edge a bit. All right. How are we doing here? Underpainting, underpainting. Let's put a little blue for the ocean. Trying to keep it out of the brown because it'll make a very dark color, but when we mix it, it'll make it gray. We mix the ultramarine. What I'm trying to do with this is cover the canvas. Also some blue here, just lightly in. Those are the trees. I'm using a different direction. So when I'm doing the water, I'm going horizontally. When I'm doing the trees, I'm going up and down. This will help me see where they are too when I come to get the final paint in here. All right, where are we here? Okay. I'm going to put one more set of bushes. Needs to come into this field a little bit. So we have brushes in front of other brushes. Switching brushes again. I have this one in front. There's a set of bushes that are in front of the trees. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get a third brush because that's going to be Indian yellow and really, really thin. It's bright color, but I only want to put that on top of the field because it will show through. And that's my only transparent light color that I have on my palette. Comes in handy to make a dark green. I'm just going to put that where the light is. Oops, that's got a shadow under it. So I'm just going to put some of that on the tops of the field and the grasses in the foreground. See how nice and warm. That's really such a lovely warm color. You can detail out your grasses later. Right now, we just want to get some paint on canvas. Thinly, this brush has kind of seen better days. Until I scrub like this, so my brushes get pretty worn. You see the Indian yellow goes over the red oxide. What a nice color that makes. And that's another feature of the transparent colors. They can be layered, just like watercolor. They can be layered on top of each other to give the paint and flow. And then our path is pretty light also. You can try, you can do some lifting with a paper towel. So we want that to be one of our lighter planes along with what's going to be here. So we can take this and just rub in that Indian yellow. Try to get my head out of the way. Let's see what I'm doing here. Just rub it in so we're covering that whole area. Voila, we're getting close to the underpainting stage. I just think I want some sky color up behind the clouds. I'm going to go back to my blue brush for that. Keep a roll of paper towel right under my easel so that I can quickly grab a new one and it doesn't slow me down a whole lot. Here also I want this really light. Okay, let me just stand back and see if we have the basic shapes covered and just a little bit more blue in here. I do want the ocean to peek through in places, but I can go back with a lighter blue mixed with white and it will cover this brown. The red oxide can be covered to make the sky holes for the big oak tree. The other thing I can do is with a little bit of the blue, is to put in some trunk marks for the trunk. These big old trees, they have really very neat, interesting shapes to them. So you can kind of just twist your brush at times to get that bend, get those bends that they do, these almost like acrobatic movements. So I'm gonna put in just a few, because a lot of the green's gonna cover here. I do want to go leaning that way so it takes your eye back through there. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes a nice flat, this is a rosemary, nice chiseled flat can help with this kind of movement too. Just get a bit of paint on the edge of your brush. You can lay it in and leave it alone. And make sure that that trunk is big enough to support that tree. That concludes the section on underpainting. I'd like to have an underpainting on my canvas, except where I want bright white, like the light side of clouds or the peaks of waves. I want the white canvas to show through. It gives it an extra brightness.